Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. I can't believe it's already Tuesday. I'm so glad to be back with you. We went out of town last week for a painting week and thought I was going to be able to letter from down there, but I didn't have an internet signal or not a stable one. So we had to play a replay last week. So thank y'all for your patience. And as you're joining me, I'm cleaning off my table. Let me know you're here. And I would love to know that you can hear me, that everything sounds okay. Let me know where you're joining me from. It is beautiful here today. How's your weather? I really like it whenever the weather is just cool enough to wear layers. I love layers. I love whether it's in my painting or with mixed media or with what I wear. I love layers. I think it's because, hey, Adrienne, I think it's because I like all the colors. And whenever you wear layers, you get to wear more than one color. I think that's why I like it so much in my artwork too. So I got to do one thing while y'all are coming on here. I need to just make sure I've got my thing going. I want to show you what we're working on this week in Lemonade Creative Hearts. And I also want to just show you an idea, kind of like a spin-off of what we're doing this week and how we can use our creativity. And I say this all the time, we can use our creativity to help us spiritually. And I want to show you that. Okay, so I see Jan is here watching from Kansas City. Thank you, Cindy. Happy Tuesday from Fort Worth. 44 this morning. Yeah. Raise your hand if you like cold weather or cooler weather. I was somewhere, I don't remember where I was. I had to go to the doctor yesterday and get some blood work, so I was wearing my jacket. And the nurse lady who was doing the blood work said, "Is it still chilly outside?" I said, "I think it's just cool enough that you need a jacket. You don't have to have a jacket, but you might like a jacket. It's just right. I'm baby bear. I don't like to get hot and sweaty, but I also don't handle cold very well. So to me, this is baby bear weather. I love it. 51, Chicago. I'm an hour outside of Chicago. My daughter lived in Chicago for a while. It's beautiful, beautiful area. We're in Alabama, so we would drive through, like straight up Alabama through Huntsville, and then I think it was Nashville. We drove through Tennessee. It's just beautiful. The whole way up there is beautiful. They lived close to, okay, let me think what it was called, Hyde Park. So we walked and toured Chicago and looked at the beautiful old buildings. Went to a botanical garden there. It's really nice. A lot of traffic, a lot of people, but I think it could really help spur some creativity looking at those old buildings. So I've been working really hard on completing the artwork for our 2024 calendar. I feel like it's taken me forever to get it done, but I'm really, really close. And I'm to the point now that I'm adding the Bible verses. Let me grab a couple of them and let me show you. Hold on just a second. I want to show you. So we went out of town last week because I've just had a really hard time getting this done. And I can get a lot accomplished at the beach. So that's what we did. and I got a lot done, but I still need to add some stuff. So I thought y'all might like to see a sneak peek. Let's see, Cindy, she loves the cold, cool weather. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful in Texas. MK. Hey, it's good to see you, lady. It's good to see you. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a few little peeks. I don't have my iPad. I don't have my act together, it looks like. So what I do first is I paint the artwork, and I will usually either do, let's see if I can move this because I've got stuff all over my desk. So I will usually do like this is called an artist panel. It's thin. So I'll paint it on this first. I also have big sheets of paper, and I'll use that as well. Like this is watercolor paper. It's heavyweight watercolor paper. So I've got some of them painted on this, some of them painted on the artist panels. And then once I get the paintings done, then I start, like that's one. Here's one. I have to scan them in. I've got a really big scanner. I like painting them big like this and then sizing it down. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but if you're painting something small and you size it up, a lot of times it will get pixelated. It's not a good quality. And since we're going to use these on a calendar, I want it to be good quality. So this is probably one of my favorites. This is like, I had this in my mind, and a lot of times I'll get ideas in my mind, but the idea doesn't translate onto paper or canvas in the same way that I was thinking it, but this did. And the idea, the vision that I had was these, I guess some of these are really bold, deep, rich colors, but then others are more almost vintage. So I wanted that vintage feel with bouquets. And so some of them are that way, but then others are really bright and rich. So like this one, I just love the way this red turned out, the layers of the red. Is several different, I think there's a couple of different variations of the red in that one. This is one of my favorites too. Hey, Leslie, I'm glad to see you here too. Karen and Alyssa, Cindy. This one is one, I love this color combination. I love the rich colors in the pear, the different golds and greens in the pear. And I love this turquoise color in the background. So it's got a lot of richness to it. This is another one of my favorites because of I was able to keep some of the translucency of the red, and I like that, and the different variations of the red. So that's where I'm at with the calendar. And I've got everything scanned in, and I use my iPad now. I used to letter directly onto here, and once I learned to use my iPad with Procreate, a whole new world opened up of possibilities. I still enjoy lettering directly on paper the best, but because of the way I'm doing these, it's really nice to be able to do it on my iPad, and then I can move the words around to see how it fits the best. And there was a couple of these that I put the scripture verse on the artwork and thought, it's almost like naming your baby. If you have children, you probably pick out the name before you give birth, but then when the baby's born, what if they don't look like the name you picked out for them? That's kind of how this was. So there was a couple of them. It's like, you don't look like that verse. Thanks to my iPad and Procreate, I was able to put that verse on a different piece of artwork. So it's like babies, naming babies. So I've also got a couple of more that are in a different part of the studio. I'm not going to get up and go get those, but I wanted you to see what I was working on, because these are paintings, but they also will have lettering. So I'm hoping right now we're a little bit off track with our original plan. Uh-oh, let me get this. But all things are in his timing. So I feel confident that we're right on track with his timing. So I'm not going to fret over it. But next Wednesday, I hope you're on our email list, because it'll go out to the email list first. We'll start doing pre-orders for the 2024 calendar. The pre-orders are important for me as the artist, business owner, because it helps me know how many I need to order. It's better to go ahead and get an initial order placed close to the right amount of calendars that I need. So that's why we do the pre-order first. So hope to have those pictures up for you, and it's set up as a product for you to place your order beginning next Wednesday. And then I think that is, what is the date for that? My calendar's in there. Whatever next Wednesday is, that's when we hope to have these ready for y'all. And the fun, if you're not familiar with our calendar, the top part, so it's not just a normal calendar, it's an art calendar. So the top part, the artwork, whenever you get the calendar, like for instance, this piece, I don't remember what month this is. This might be May. I don't remember. But the top part of the calendar is an 8x10 print. And then the bottom part is where the dates are. So it's multi-purpose. You can keep up with the dates on it, but then you can do the perforations at the end of that month and use the artwork. You can frame it. So, yeah. And I've been just really praying about what verses to put on there, because the Lord knows that. So the name of this calendar is Words Worth Remembering. He knows what we're going to need to remember. He knows what next year is going to bring. If he allows a next year, he knows. So that's why I try and stay in tune to, Lord, what is it? What verses do I need to use? There's not a bad verse in the Bible, but some of them really hit home, and I want to just be in sync with him and what he knows we're going to need. So the thing that has come to me repeatedly is draw near, draw near. So I've just been kind of soaking on those simple 2 words. What does that look like? What does that mean? And that's why some of these flowers are big. Let me pull up one of those again that's big. It's almost out of proportion big. Because when you pull in close to something or somebody, you see detail. You see detail that you'll miss if you were at a distance. So that's kind of reflected into some of these paintings in here of come closer, draw near, pull in closer. I want to tell you something. That's the visual that I have of how the Lord sees us, our Father sees us, is come closer. I want to tell you something. Come closer so you can hear. So I'm excited about the verses that are coming to life on the artwork. And I've also been thinking of it of the angle of, so if I draw near, what would I find? What would I see? What would I hear when I draw near to God, what would I see? And the thing that came to me is I would see his characteristics. I would see a little bit better of who he is. What would I find when I draw near? So that's what some of the verses are. Yeah. I can't wait to show y'all. So if you're not on our email list, I want to encourage you to get on there. I don't have a quick link for that, but you can get on there by going to our website. And I did put that link in the comments, but it's www.pamcoxwelldesigns, and there's an S on the end of the word design.com. So when you get to the website, just scroll to the bottom and join the email list, and you will be the first to know. We'll say, hey, it's ready. Come on, sign up. Okay. So one last thing about the calendar before I move on. The calendar is important for another reason. It has become like the cornerstone pieces of so many parts of what I do. So those each month has a different verse. So that's the theme verse for that month. So like this year's calendar was Psalms and hymns. And so some months is a hymn, some month is a psalm, as a verse from Psalms. But if you like to memorize verses, or if you want some help memorizing verses, this calendar is good for that as well, because we can take that monthly verse and focus on that all month long to help us memorize it. And then we take it a step further, and our lettering group, we letter that verse all throughout the month. And that's another step we can take in helping us get more of his word written on our hearts and on our mind to renew our mind. So the calendar is a big piece to all of that. And want to invite you to join us with it. All right, so now let me show you what I wanted to letter with you today. Let me find my notebook. So this month in Lemonade Creative Hearts, our theme is an old hymn, Sweet Hour of Prayer. If you're in Lemonade Creative Hearts, you've probably been getting your weekly lessons. If you have not, then let me know, because you're supposed to be getting them. But we've been taking that hymn and kind of breaking it down, and how can we make this applicable to our daily life. So one of the ways, let me see if I can pull this book out. I've got this book. It's called Prayer Portions. It's by Sylvia Gunter. It's like an encyclopedia. It's just full of resources about prayer. I just love this book. She's got all kinds of little, like some of them are 1 page, some of them are 2 page, but she calls them prayer portions. What works when life doesn't. And it's all these verses that you can look up and read. And it's just a lot of different topics, like this one, Alphabet of Who You Are in Christ. And it's just verse after verse after verse. It's really, really good. So I used one of her little prayer prompts. Now I don't see which one I did in a couple of our lessons for this month. I'm not going to get sidetracked with it because I don't see it right off. But what we've done is taken that plus the word plus that hymn, and we're making like these prayer cards. These are like flashcards. I don't know, I think people still use flashcards, don't you? That's how I learned math facts. You can study for a speech using flashcards. There's so many ways that we can use flashcards to help us remember things, to memorize things, to learn things. So we can also use them to help us spiritually. So this time I did these using the Lord's Prayer as little prayer prompts, taking the different parts of the Lord's Prayer and breaking it down onto these individual cards. Charlie was coming in here and I thought he had a critter in his mouth. That's why I was like, don't bring Chipmunk in here. So like this one is a prompt, love your Father. And on the back side is a prompt from that prayer, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. So if I was trying to memorize this verse, love your Father is a prompt to trigger my memory, Our Father who art in heaven. Then this one and I give Miss Sylvia the credit for these little prompts, adore him for who he is, his love and mercy and grace, his faithfulness and unchangeability, his power and sovereignty, his wisdom and purposes. Those are little prompts. Sometimes you get like this, you just are stuck, you don't even know how to pray. These are little prompts like, thank him for his love and mercy and his grace. Thank him for his faithfulness. Here's another one. This one says, pray in line with your Father's kingdom and his will. And the backside says, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Pray your kingdom come concerns. Pray your will be done concerns. So they're just little prayer prompts. Okay, so we made these with scrapbook paper and double stick tape and then a little ring. So I want to show you today how we can take this and maybe customize it even more personal. Okay, so this gives you an idea of what we've been working on. And if you're not in our monthly Lemonade Creatives group, I want to encourage you to join. We are coming up on the fourth quarter, the end of the year, and people will start looking toward the new year and new changes, new starts, like whether it's diets or I'm going to do better at keeping my house clean, I'm going to do better with eating. We start getting into that mind frame. So what if we changed our mindset from those things and thought, what can I do to help myself spiritually? What can I do to make sure I'm getting fed spiritually? What can I do to nurture myself spiritually? So I just want to challenge you with that perspective and give you an example. So I'm not still fully sure what the Lord was teaching me with all this, but I do know one big thing. There has been at least 3 big things that I have misplaced in this studio just within the last few weeks. Like, I have torn this place apart looking for my stack of pumpkins that I painted. Could not find them to save my life. So one day I was sitting here, like my chair was down right here. And usually the only time I sit in this position is whenever we're doing a Facebook Live. And I just happened to look up at just the right angle and saw one of those pumpkins that I had been looking for were clipped to my bookcase. I thought, I cannot believe I have looked everywhere and did not see that. But I was at a different angle, so I got a different perspective. So I went over to that area, and what had happened is they had fallen. They had fallen between the bookcase and a thing of paint, and so they weren't easy to find. But I had to get it a different perspective. Well, fast forward, I lost the little remotes for my pups, their collars. I couldn't find them anywhere. So once again, I was sitting at this table at this angle, and this time I looked this direction at just the right angle, and I saw the 2 little remotes clipped to that shelf. So, okay, Lord. Okay. So I've been just asking him, show me what things have I misplaced, whether it's spiritually or just things with my heart, that I need to change my perspective. And it's that simple of sitting here and then turning at that angle, and then it's like a flashlight is shining on that. So that's become my prayer for myself, is help me see when I need to change my perspective. So now keep that in mind, and let me show you what I wanted us to do, okay? So let me see if I can change the view. And if you have questions, let me know in the comments. I'm going to keep looking. I see more people have joined us. Awesome. Welcome. I'm glad y'all are here. We are going to make some little flashcards that are like, they're prayer cards, but they're like flashcards. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Okay, can y'all see that okay? All right, so I showed you the ones that we were making in our monthly group. Now let me show you. All right, this is just one of our journals. You can do this on anything. Every month we have a new tool. Like I do a thing called Tool Talk, where I talk about different tools like lettering or whatever. Hey, Vicki, I'm glad you're here. Vicki's one of our ladies, creative ladies in our creative family. So you just need something to make a record, because the Lord knows we're forgetful. We're very forgetful people, and He knows we need reminders. So take care of yourself and find something that you can use to help you remember the things that you need to remember. All right, so my first step that I want to do with you is just letter a verse of scripture, okay? And it's in Psalm. Let me find my glasses. Hold on. I'm having trouble with my contacts getting blurry. All right. Psalm 147, 3. I still feel like I don't have this camera right. If somebody could let me know, can y'all see okay the thing? All right, so I'm just going to pull out a couple of different colors here. I'm going to go with these colors. Okay, so I'm going to make myself stick with those colors. I also found this washi tape on sale at Michael's. So I'm going to incorporate some washi tape in to this little project, because we're going to make a prayer card together. And if you're like me, you like your colors to match, coordinate. So I'm going to use, let me turn this up this way. We're going to make a card. We might make two. So you could use scrapbook paper. You could use index cards. You could use whatever you want to use. Okay, so I've got my washi tape, got some markers, and I've got some paper. I love these little blocks of paper. I like these colors. And then I've got just some scrapbook paper, just random scrapbook paper. Okay, so but first I'm going to write it in my journal. So the verse that I want to write is Psalm 147. You see it there, 147, 3. I'm just going to stick with that. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. It's hard because if you're like me, it's hard to know. I want to include all of the verse, but it won't all fit. We don't have enough paper, do we? Okay, so let's do this one. So I like to write anything that's pertaining to God. I like for that to be thicker, bigger, taller, all caps. I just like to put emphasis on anything that pertains to Him, because I don't want there to be confusion on who He is. So I know that if He is written with all caps, it's God. Okay. And I'm just using a Tombow. This is number N57. And this is a brush tip. So I used pressure going down on my downstrokes. And that gave me a nice thick line. Okay. So that's my color for God. Okay. So what does He do? He heals. So I'm going to do this one in green. This green color is going to be the action. So up is a thin line. And come around. Down is a thick line. And I'm going to have to be creative to get this to fit in that spot. Okay, down is a thick. I'm going to connect those right there. And then down. Okay. And then let's see, we want to do an L. And then come up and do the S. I did get it on there, didn't I? I wasn't too sure. He heals. Who does he heals? Who does he heal? Goodness gracious. He heals the brokenhearted. So I think I want this to be red. He heals. You can color code these however you want to, however it makes sense to you. He heals the brokenhearted. And I'm just using a very light touch. If you've worked with Tombows very much, you know that the more you use it, the more worn the tip is going to get. It's not going to, I mean, that's just natural with anything you use. I'm having to pay attention so I can get as much on here as I can. I fitted it in there, barely. I got it fit in there. It fitted in there. So God does what? He heals who? The brokenhearted. Okay. And get the color again. And the other action is he binds up. So I'm going to do the same color as heal, and I'm going to use a similar font style, lettering style. He binds. Make sure you can see that. Remember, up is thin, down you use pressure. Up is thin, down is pressure. Down is pressure. And down. Connect those. Down is pressure. Binds up. Binds up who? He binds up their wounds. So let's keep it red. That way we know that there is associated with the brokenhearted. So he binds up their I think I'm going to do wounds in this color. Okay, so that's and then I'm going to put it out here on the side. This is Psalm 147, verse 3. We could go, all of these are great. I mean, it's hard for me to stop, but I just want to focus in on that one verse. So now here's how we can take it one step further and turn this verse into a prayer. Our focus this month is prayer, so I want to make this applicable to what we're learning this month in Lemonade Creative Hearts. So now this is one way we can do that. Let me move this so I don't knock this over. I'm actually going to give you more than one way, but all right. So there's our verse. We could use this side of the page to list people that we know are brokenhearted and have woundedness that need God's healing. We could list them here and we could pray for them. That's how we could do that. We could turn this back into a prayer and make it personal. So we could have names attached to the word brokenhearted. So here's an example. We could take a pen, a different color, and draw an arrow over here and just write names. Or if you don't want to write the names down, you could write initials so that it would represent, I mean, God knows who they are. But if you wanted to have caution, afraid somebody might see it, then just use initials. It could be countries. You know, there's a lot of devastation happening right now in Israel, really around the world. It could be countries that we could be praying for. It could be your town. It could be your family. It could be you. But there's power that comes whenever we take these verses and apply them to our life, and prayer is one way we can do that. So one step would be to list those out of who you want to pray this for, and then pray it back to him and thank him for hearing you and thank him for his answer. Another thing that we could do with this is we could make flashcards like I was showing you with that over there. We can make flashcards. And I want to show you 2 ways that you could use flashcards as prayer cards. Okay, so we've got this example here. We could list out names in our prayer journal. Then another way is we can make flashcards. And I like to use these rings, like these little metal rings. I like those. I know somebody who has like a little recipe box. I don't think I can reach it without turning my chair over. But you know those little plastic boxes that have a flip top, and you sort through them, with recipes. I've seen prayers done that way as well. So that's an idea also. So let's see if we can just take one of these. Oh, I love it whenever it's got those on the back. Let's do this, and let's pull out one of these colors. So I'm trying to use these little themes right here. What about, I like to color code things. So here's one. We could do it like this. Use a little bit of washi tape. This would be fun to do with like a group of ladies, like in your Sunday school class, or if you have a group of friends that y'all pray together. You could have like a little crafty night or get together for a crafty lunch and just make some prayer prompt cards. Okay, I'm just using the washi tape to attach these two. Okay, now let's do one more to keep that down. I'm going to use this kind of pink color. And there's 2 ways we can do this. So I'm just going to show you the one way first. And if you are using one of those boxes, you might want to measure to make sure you're making your cards the size that will fit in the box. Okay. So now we can take our verse and decide how we want to write it on here. And then we will write the names on the back. Okay, so let me give you an example. I'm going to need a dark color for that because that red is dark. Let's try this brown and see if it will work. Make sure you can see me. So I'm doing the same principle, but I'm writing smaller. He, and let me get my green and see if this is going to work. And it barely works. So let's use this one right here. You can find these at Michael's, these little blocks. Okay, he heals. I'm going to just do, and then I think this red will work on here. If it doesn't, you see that? Just barely. I'm having to pay attention so I don't misspell it. Broken. Let's see if I can make this work. Barely, but it's on there. And I think it'll be fine once this dries. The washi tape is really slick. So just a warning that if I smudge that before it dries, it's going to smear. He heals the brokenhearted. And see, what you're doing is you're taking it a step further, and now you've written it in here, you're writing it on here. Every one of those is like a tap for a seed. He binds up. So I can tell that I'm running short on space, but so I'm writing smaller. He binds up. Let's do okay, that's not going to show up either. That's okay. We're not going to get sidetracked by that. He binds up their wounds. And now I want to do a reference. Psalm 147:3. Okay, so can you see that? Let me know if you can see that. All right, so I'm thinking that I'm going to go back over that with something darker so it shows up better. But this is good for right now. This is my little prompt. It's my little prayer prompt, my little flashcard. And one thing that I could do is I could take this verse and let this be the verse of the week that I'm going to pray and let the Lord bring people to my mind, to my heart. And then I can list their names on the back. And then I also want to encourage you to list the date. List the date that you're praying for them. So, for example, I was looking for my pen. I don't see it. So today is 10/17/23. I'm just going to write Israel. And I'm putting war there. And I could list. And the goal would be that week to just fill up the back of this, to just work on this. And this is where you'll have to decide, where would you need to put this to help you see this and be reminded to actually do this. If you're like me, you need as many reminders as possible, because sometimes I feel like words come in one ear and they go out the other quicker than I can even grasp them. So this is a decorative way. Choose colors that you like. Use washi tape. Use whatever to make this pretty and fun, and then just sit it up somewhere that you can see it. I would maybe tape this to my bathroom mirror and see it first thing in the morning, or put it on my bedside table and it be one of the last things I see before I turn out the light. Think about yourself and your situation. Where would it be most helpful for you to see it? Okay, so I told you I'd show you 2 ways. Let me show you the other way. So now we've got 3 ways. We've written it 2 ways. We've written it in our journal. Then we're going to put our prayers over here on the side. Then we've written the verse on a card. We've made a flashcard. We're going to do our specific people on the back. Let's do one more way. Let me get another card. I want it to be a card. So let's see. I need it to be so that I can write on the back. Do you love scrapbook paper? I love it. And I've never scrapbooked a day in my life, but I love scrapbook paper. Isn't that funny? All right, so I'm going to try and do it and just play around with it. Do it the way it makes sense for you. So I might do it like this. Oh, my nose is itching. I'm going to use some pink. I'll have washi tape too. All right. You don't have to use washi tape to do this. You could use double stick glue. You could make these as nice as you want them to be. Like you could use lace. There's so many different scrapbooking and sewing things that you could use for something like this. Good, Susan. I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm glad to see you here. If y'all have ideas, I'm hoping that this is springboarding some ideas for you. So let me know. Put them in the comments. Put them in the comments, and because we definitely can learn from each other. Okay. Just a minute, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I think I want to do it like this. Now I want a solid. I might just use one of these. It's the same, like this is, both of these came from Michaels. This is 3x3, this is 2x3. And I'm just going to put a name on here on the front. This is where it's fun just to play with the colors. Okay, so I might do it like that. And I did have my little glue dots. Here it is. Let's do that. We had our mixed media painters group last night, and I told them that I don't feel like I'm a very crafty person. Like I don't know all of the glues and all of that kind of stuff because I don't really use them that much. I know paint. So if you ever know of a glue that's good or tape that's good, feel free to say so. Say so. Okay, so I've just got a layered little card, and I had one more piece of, I don't see it now. Good. That makes me feel good, Susan, to know that, because that is why I do it. One of my not so favorite things is, and all the ladies around here know it, I don't like Facebook Lives as much as I like Zoom because I want to be able to hear you. But I like it because it is a way to connect. Here it is. Here it is. All right. This is beautiful tape. I wanted to use some of this. Well, and whenever I say crafty, I mean it more in the sense of the tools, like the different glues. Like, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I went to cosmetology school, and to learn how to do hair. Oh, this is not sticky. So I know how to cut hair, but I've been out of it for so long. I'm not current on the products to use. Like, I know what I learned almost 40 years ago, but I don't know the current products. So that's really what I mean. And I'm not really sure the right word for it as far as knowing if crafty is the right word. I just don't feel like I'm strong in the area of the different products. All right, this says it's tape, but I don't see how to tape it. There's nothing sticky. So I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to get sidetracked with that because I would get sidetracked. Okay, let me grab my scissors. I see how I can do it. Sorry to reach over you. All right, so I'm going to use my glue dots to put this down. I really thought that it would be sticky on the back since it's called tape. Have y'all used this before? Does anybody know? Okay, we're going to keep moving forward. Where did I put the glue thing? Oh my goodness. I just had it. Here. It'll show up. All right, I'm just going to put it right here. Now what I want to do is I just want this to be decorative. So think about where you would want to put these kind of things. Oh, it's not showing up, is it? Good grief. Here. Oh, I see. It just died, y'all. It just died. Okay, hang on. Y'all be patient. Here we go. All right, here's what I did. I'm just going to trim that. Now with this, you could use this and do one for each member in your family and do it with maybe their favorite colors. Look at that. So what I can do now, that's what I thought, Susan, with the liner, but I don't feel it. So I just used a little bit of double stick tape to get that down. So y'all hold on just a second. I want to grab this cord. I'll be right back. I didn't have it plugged up into the power thing. And it just is, this iPad has gotten to where it doesn't stay charged for very long, which is sad. It's been a really good iPad. I use it for a lot of things. But that's what happened. It died. So maybe it'll come back up and I can show you the tabletop view again. But I'm glad y'all told me that it wasn't showing it. Okay, so adapting, absolutely, constantly. So think about whose name could you write right there. It could be family. It could be a country. It could be your work, your job. But the purpose of this would be to have their name on the front. And then on the back, there's not enough room to write out an entire prayer, but you could use verses. So it's kind of like doing the opposite of what we did on this one. So Psalm 147, and my sister is wonderful at this. Like, she's like a prayer warrior, constantly praying for me with things. And she'll say, how can I pray for you? And I might tell her what's going on. And then in just a little while, she's going to message me back and she's going to say, okay, I'm going to be praying Psalm 147 for this situation. That's how she does it. So let me do this. I'm going to do her name. Okay. So let me see if this is charged back up enough that you can see. Nope. Let's try one more thing because I really do want you to see it. Hang on. Thank y'all for being patient. Anytime there's technology, you're just going to have to be patient. Okay. You see that? Where there's a will, there's a way. All right, let's move this little baby over. Let's move this over. And let's see if we can get back to what we were doing because I really want you to see how to do this. I think this is important as the days continue. He didn't put us here for ourselves. We're here for each other, and we need to be praying for each other. Okay, so let's see if we can get this back up. Can y'all see that? All right, be thinking about a name that you can do and use this with. All right. All right, let's change it over now. You know what? It might be my internet. Now, I can see it. Can y'all see now the tabletop? All right. Let me get this jacket off because I want you to see how to do this. All right. So my sister's name is Tammy. So I'm going to put her name on here. So what you could do is you could write it in pencil first to give you an idea of how big to write it. I'm going to be brave and I'm just going to do it. Okay. Because I know, yeah, we're running out of time. Remember, downstroke is pressure. Upstroke is very, very light pressure. All right, so I'm going to do the A. And then I'm going to light, down, down, down. Okay. So where I wrote on the washi tape and this clear tape, it didn't really come through very well, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll let that dry and then I'll probably go back over it again. All right, so now what I could do is think about where could I put this so that I can remember to pray for her, and then take it a step further and make a record, record that prayer. I'm thickening up the downstrokes. It still acts like it's freezing up, doesn't it? I think it's probably an internet issue. So I've got Psalm 143, which is He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And I'm going to put the date out to the side. 10/17/23. And then just fill this up. So be creative. What are some ways we could use this? So think about it. I could have several of these cards and then pull one each day. And that's the person I pray for throughout the day. Or I could pull one at the beginning of the week, and that's who I focus on that week. It's up to you. You know, do this how it makes sense for you and your life. But the main thing is to do something. Just do something. Start where you are and do something. And this just makes it pretty and decorative, and you're using your creativity. And, you know, it could just be sitting or taped to something, and then you just flip it over on the back and put your verse there. Okay. Does anybody else have ideas of how did this spur some ideas for you on how could you use this? How do you see yourself using it? I would, and if you don't want to do all of the different pieces, you could do it as simple. Let's just do one more and then I'll let y'all go. So you probably need to go eat lunch. All right, so I'm going to get one of these that it has black on the background. And we could even, this is how simple it could be. This is a white, let me make sure this writes. It does. So what's a name? Somebody call out a name for me. I know you can't verbally call it out. Type a name. Yeah. Sometimes I don't start because I get so overwhelmed thinking of all the things that I need to do, so I don't do anything. So I could layer it like this. Daniel. Okay, I'll do Daniel. Or I could put this back here. So I'm going to use the white, and I'm going to do Daniel. I have a nephew named Daniel. It's a good, strong name. This pen has been used a lot, so it's pretty rough. This is a Faber-Castell white artist pen. All right. I'm going to have to squeeze it in there. Think I can do it? Oh my goodness. I squished him. But that's okay. We know. And it's very possible that once that dries, I could even separate that. I have to wait for that to dry because it's not dry yet. So we've got Daniel on there. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but Emma's dreaming. That pen is dead. That pen is dead. All right, Susan. Let's see if we can make a separation right in here. Yep. This is me adjusting and adapting again. Don't you love for somebody to say, I've been praying for you. You've been on my heart. I've been praying for you. This is just making it specific. We're just going to pray for Daniel. I hope that y'all will come back and comment in this thread of how you've been able to implement this. So then on the back, that's where you could add a color piece of paper or something so that you could put the verses that you've prayed for him. Like that. Okay. Does this help? Yeah. Do you feel embarrassed when they say they've been praying for you? Does it make you want to say, what have you been praying? Do you know something I don't know? Okay, so with Daniel, do you have a verse? I was looking to see if I see one right here. The Lord lifts up the humble. He casts the wicked to the ground. Let everything that has breath praise the Lord. What if we do that? Psalm 150. And this is up to you. This is just another idea that just kind of came together. So what if we did this? Go ahead and write the verse. Just a second, I'll show you what my idea is. Then you can write praise the Lord. And then each time, like if you did this weekly, you could have a different verse next week that you put on top of that. That would be nice to see how many you could add. So you could turn this into a prayer. And Lord, I pray that, I don't know how old Daniel is, but that my Daniel is 20, I think he's 21. I pray that Daniel will praise you in wherever he is and whatever he does. 28, okay? So then that could be the prayer, the verse that you pray for him this week. And then the next week, you could add another card on top of that and pray and just stack these up. That would be cool. That'd be cool. I've never tried it that way, but that's an idea. Okay, so I hope this gives y'all some good ideas of how you can use your creativity and scripture and prayer and apply it to your life, whether it's something like this, individual cards like that, or this with the verse and list the people on the back, or in your prayer journal. Okay. Thank y'all for being here. I enjoyed spending lunchtime with you. Feel free to add a picture in the comments, and if you end up making some cards, would love to see it. All right. And I look forward to seeing y'all next Tuesday. And then Friday, I'll be back at noon, the Lord willing. I found some pumpkins on sale at Michael's, so I'm going to paint those using some of our pumpkin patch techniques. So I hope y'all will join me Friday also at noon. All right, y'all go have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, yes, Susan, tonight at 6. Yes, Zoom for the lettering ladies, Lemonade Creative Hearts, 6 o'clock. We're going to do some lettering together. All right, thank you for that reminder. All righty, bye-bye.